if I get to is, hey, you know, keep your distance. We're trying to take care of ourselves. I don't have time to send a boat across the reservoir, so tell somebody not to go fish. I've had a golf course call me and say, hey, you know, this is what we're gonna do. We're only gonna allow one person per cart. Only 4 people can play. They have to stay 6 feet apart. I said, I promise you, unless somebody calls, say there's 10 of them gathered up together, or then I'm not gonna mess with you. You operate your business and keep going. But let me tell you what I am gonna do, and it's no good. They can use it for toilet paper. But I'm gonna do a letter up. I've had people scared to death they're gonna get in trouble for traveling on the road. And like one lady calls to have to drive and take care of my parents every day.
I want you to call the back.
I have to drive and take care of my parents every day. I'm gonna do a letter up on Sheriff's Office letterhead, saying the bearer of this letter, type in their name, is doing the essential task of caring for elderly parents. You know, we're traveling back and forth. Sign Sheriff Brian Bailey. I'm gonna do one for take care of elderly, one for restaurant. I have restaurant owners call me. Hey, what about my employees? I don't want to get in trouble. I'll have a letter saying the bearer of this letter have their name as an employee of this business. They'll be traveling back and forth to work. Like I said, it's just going to be a letter, but everybody right now wants stability and something to lean on. And they're leaning on the county. So that letter doesn't carry weight anything, but it's going to mean a lot to them. So I'm going to do a letter for that. And then I had agriculture guy said, man, I have to get this fertilized out and get it spread. Man, I'll get a letter to you.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I've been asked the same thing while we're talking about it from people that have employees. In fact, one of the boys works for me. His wife has some kind of letter, so he was telling my guys this morning about it, and he's asking, "Where do I get a letter?" It's because they won't be able to come to work. So they're thinking they're going to get stopped or something. But so what do we do for that?
The deputy will not be questioning anybody. They better not be stopped.
I mean, how would they get a letter?
About these police departments, the whole truck. So yeah, I'll do it. Anybody wants a letter, I'll do it up. But if they can't come to the office to get it, we're either going to email it or have a deputy drop it off. Because I'm telling you, they're really scaring a lot of people.
Well, getting to our staff, you know, personally, I want us to have everybody go home and work from home, if at all possible.
Mm-hmm.
And only people that should be here are ones who necessarily have to be here. And go a little step further, we obviously have people who have to work here. I think, you know, there's emails Daniel shared with us, Hancock did, about giving some incentive pay during this time. I would like for us to enact that to those individuals that we have to rely on, like purchasing, you know, our law enforcement, EOC. Yeah.
Yep.
So, you know, I think I'd like to do something for those people.
Do we need to do it before this act comes in?
The act may be 2 or 3 weeks. So what we can do on that is we can put those guys as essential at a time and a half rate, clock the money back, and that would be back toward FEMA's on the reimbursement end of that money. So we would spend it up front and then come back. But I would like to see us take everyone.
Sure, they're going to do that.
They're doing it now.
I know, but I mean,
What does it matter though? I mean, we got people that
what about the
we have
road
to have
crew?
here.
I mean, we got the road department.
I think those guys are included into that point exactly. And I think Mike, what he can do is not have everybody at work at the same
I'd say
time.
even
But
as far as Mike goes, I'd send everybody home I could.
yeah, I'm
And
stagger
I'd
your
separate.
shifts.
I wouldn't have people riding together. You know, everybody's going to have to understand.
this
we
month's
can't
gonna be
pick
bad.
up their
Yeah.
we
It
can't
is.
pick up their
It's gonna be a bad
limbs.
month.
But
Limbs aren't going to get picked up. You know,
if we got deputies working during the daytime, which I know we do, nighttime around the clock, the EOC guys are around the clock, the road crews are coming out. If we got people on the job working, and this as essential, they should be at a time and a half rate.
Yeah.
That's what they should be at.
but I mean,
from
we're
the start.
fixing to get our employees sick. If we got a road crew out there working together, they all fixing to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if we don't go ahead and take measures now to separate them, we're going to end up with nobody. So I would like to send everybody
what you asking
home
to do about
if
the
at all
road
possible.
crew?
Well, I
You
mean,
gonna send the whole road crew home?
I think
I
that
wanna-
Mark.
I mean, how
Limit-
I'm just talking.
I want to limit their interaction with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I would put more 2 people together, because that way, if you're only going to be down 2 people then. But if you got 4 or
Right.
5 people working together, that's a whole.
Oh, I agree. I'm just trying to figure how we're
Well,
gonna
here's
do
one
it.
thing I'd like to do, 'cause I know you got to get on that conference call at 11. But I know I want to say, well, I got you in here. I'd like to do it for all of our essential employees, and we figure a way to cover the cost. We'll take it to FEMA on the funding. I know there's FEMA acts out there that reimburse us for that money. But from the law enforcement, from the EOC side, the skeleton crew Michael put together. But if you're essential, you go to that time and a half rate, not just the straight time, because you're out there having to work and running the possibility of getting contaminated or infected and back to your loved ones. So that's what I'd like to do.
The worst people that I have right now, they pull Barry Vaughn back in the jail, because there's no social distancing there.
Right.
They have
That's
to
right.
be.
Yeah.
They
Right.
still have to lay hands on them.
So my thing is, I want to take all those guys to a time and a half rate. I mean, not saying that's enough, but the federal deal is going to come down. I think in a couple of times it's going to be a double time pay. But at least the county like to take it time and a half and figure out the avenues on the FEMA reimbursement money side of it. But take all those essential employees. As bad of an answer as it still is, not that a time and a half's enough, but we can do the time and a half rate for those essential folks. So.
Do we need
I
to
would
check
like to
and
do
make
that.
sure we can do that?
Yeah, I've already checked, Jared. I've done the research on the incentive compensation, and it's somewhat responsive because other counties have done that in this current situation. They've actually enacted, they call it hazard pay. I think that's not the appropriate nomenclature,
Right.
which I'm very proud of my District 2 supervisor for sticking with the wording correctly there. It's incentive compensation is
Right.
what it is. It has to apply prospectively. It means that
Right.
the minute that y'all make an official act to offer it, it's not available currently. When you do that, it is from that moment forward. So any time that has been incurred up to this point is not eligible for incentive compensation. So we're talking about marking this from the moment you decide forward. Anyone that would be eligible could then accrue that for a defined time. Other counties that other supervisors that have done this have made it applicable payroll period to payroll period to give the board an opportunity to reassess without setting it out there indefinitely. So they're assessing it every payroll period as to whether or not to continue it. That may not be real workable for us, I don't know, but we may be better served. In light of the fact the governor's already acted to extend a shelter in place through the 20th, I think it's safe to assume that we're going to be dealing with this all the way through the end of April, for sure.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so
for sure.
probably beyond. But I would suggest that we set a term date out there, say the end of May as your term date. But your incentive offer, there would be a motion
Correct.
to add it to the agenda,
Yep.
and then to authorize incentive compensation for any county employee who is required to work as a result of the COVID situation that we have, is required to work in that environment when otherwise they would have been sent to the house.
Correct.
All right,
And I'd like to put that rate at a time and a half rate automatically.
yeah, so you
Until
would
we
just.
can figure out that if the FEMA stuff comes down and they move it to 2% or 2 times your rate, then we'll obviously would adjust to that. But I know we would be good on the time.
I mean, we
and a
got,
half rate.
in our office, I know we have to do payroll, accounts payable, and obviously got to reconcile all of our books. But other than that, I think everybody, maybe, somebody, if we can even send the phones to go somewhere else,
And you may have other elected officials close their offices on their own. I mean, that may be what they want to do. That's up to them, or how Larry's office runs, or Sullivan's offices, or Caroline's. But as far as what we can control, Sheriff on the same side, who you deem essential, you designate those people,
And that's
take them to
what
that time and a half rate. EOC, the road crew. I think it's a skeleton crew, Mike Harrison. I mean, as far as you put in and how you set them
Right.
up, but they're at that time and a half rate. So.
I mean, what's your plans on as far as you working 4 tens now, how many people there at one time?
I mean, you got, basically I got 70 employees, so Mondays and Fridays, you just have half of them there.
Are they
I mean,
scattered some? I mean, how many of them, like I know,
Well, I
this
mean,
dude's running the dump truck and this is
I
a
got a
Traco, they're
prepping
not
crew, I
together.
got a prepping crew that prepping ahead of Ralph and them. I mean, that's about a 10-man crew, now they're not all riding together, but, that is a 10-man crew.
When they're working, they're not really so much,
Right, I
Right
mean, that was
together.
what I was just kinda going over my head, I mean,
Well, Mike, you
But I
see where
wanna-
I'm getting at? If one of your guys gets sick,
yeah.
they're just took out everybody, because they're all working right there together.
I mean, we've had,
He's had a meeting
I've had
with
three,
all of them.
I've had 3 cases already that I've gotten so far, and I mean, I keep reminding everybody that, it wasn't employees impacted, but it was a wife come home the other day. She was running fever, she works at the hospital. He did call me. I told him to stay home until he got the test results back. You know, when they got test results back, it was negative. He got to come back to work. That's the way we've been handling it. But I mean, the
you're
state's gonna
100%
bite
right.
you at some point.
We can
you
we
know.
can limit back on what the road department's doing and what Mike deems as essential road tasks to be done, and spread those guys out. But I mean, that's key. And everybody else is just on. They're going to get the administrative leave to go home and get paid under that act.
But I mean, that
But
was
we-
the
but we
questions I
need-
was gonna ask y'all. I mean, are we talking about?
But the guys you keep on would go to a time and a half rate because they're making more money than the guy going home. So
Well, and the thing
I
is,
reckon what
like
I'm
you
throwing
putting up
out is
culverts, you're
like
not all
bush
out
hogging.
together,
You know, we're gonna not bush hog right now.
right?
You know, work orders, I mean, some of these work orders, as long as they're not impacting the road, we're gonna just let them stack up right now. I mean, that's the question I'm asking y'all.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying we ain't gonna pick up limbs, but I don't think we're gonna pick
We're
up.
gonna
very
pick them up
many.
twice a week,
But where you gonna put them?
as long as land.
We always do.
We're
Every
getting-
We haven't
we're-
been,
we're
we haven't been
getting
putting
them
them down there, that's what I'm saying.
Go on the
We
field,
carry
landfill.
We carry them
We're
to the
still picking them
landfill.
up.
I thought he said he had to stop picking them up.
No, he's got to stop taking them down to his
Oh.
location.
Yeah.
We can't, we used to take debris down there at the thing, but
The-
that
Oh,
got
yeah,
shut
everybody
down.
we pick up,
I
we
guess
pay
to,
for.
I guess to
Yeah,
cut this
I
straight
thought you
through
were
it,
saying-
is you put it to each department head, Ms. Renee's office,
Yeah.
Mike's office, sheriff's office, obviously his own thing, but authorize them the expenditures of the essential personnel at the time and a half rate. Everybody else goes home, and they're going to make the administrative leave.
I'm sure
compensation.
Caroline's already sent most of her staff home. She got 2 of her offices
So,
already
so the
closed.
people that she's got working, she go to that time and a half rate. Sheriff's the same thing. The deputies you got work, minus Barry Bond, scratch him out of the list. Everybody else is the time and a half rate. So that's in my motion. Barry Bond's eliminated out of that spot, but
Or you have some
take the
that-
rest of them to the time and a half rate. If you think that's enough for now.
That's very genuine, they'll appreciate it. Most career guys, they're gonna work with if you didn't.
That's right.
Can
Well,
we
and-
give
and
them their
every single one
regular
of them will.
check and then the 50% separate? I mean, what I'm looking, we're getting into this money splitting retirement and benefits.
Did I
Yeah, I
understand
address
that
this.
that money
Okay, real
Let me
complicated.
address this.
Yeah.
does not
Your,
have
your
percentage?
incentive compensation is not subject to PERS.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, so it's
So
gonna
that's
have
why
to be
you need to split it up.
segregated.
We can do a separate
Okay.
check on that
That's,
payroll.
that would keep it.
It is
simple.
my understanding that today, John has closed his doors and sent everybody home. He's only gonna have somebody check the mail.
Yeah.
It's my understanding, I have not talked to her, but Caroline is following suit and even closing down the drive-through. That
Oh, really?
she's closing everything down and only
Wow.
gonna check mail.
Well, let me ask
She
you, how do you-
shut
what
down
happens
the
to you?
drive-through?
That's my understanding, what I heard. I have not spoken to her, but after John said he was shutting down his office, my understanding is she said she's shutting hers totally down
What if
and
you-
only
don't
checking
have
mail.
How- What are they gonna do if they need a tag?
I can't control that.
And they get a
I
ticket?
can't control that. That's,
They get pulled over for not having a tag?
I'm
that's
can't
not my issue.
Can't see
answer
her
any of that.
door.
But I mean, again, that's not us doing that.
That's not, yes,
That's
I don't
not us
know.
doing
I
that.
will-
That's her doing
know
what she
it.
wants.
But to answer,
I agree with
You
you.
get a tag, you get a ticket, what are they gonna do there?
but to
There you
answer
go.
Steve's
How they gonna
question,
get
we
plenty
will
of
issue a
they're
second
closed.
check because it is not hers.
All
Guys.
I want to address is our direct people,
Yeah.
our directors.
So everybody on board with that?
Let's make it
I am.
clear
I am.
what we're trying to do here, though, for the record. We want to be clear. What I'm understanding is that you guys are authorizing incentive compensation for a period of time that is directly related to this COVID response, okay? That's what we're doing. So it's narrow in scope, it's COVID related, okay? And it's for employees, county employees, who are required, for whatever reason,
By their
essential-
office
by-
head.
By the office.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, yes, but,
Sure.
but by virtue or the nature of their job, they're required to continue to be present. They can't work from home, okay?
Right.
So jailers can't work from home. So we've got employees that are gonna have to be on site.
Yeah,
All right, so that's what it applies to.
And when they come to work, their 8 o'clock check-in, or whenever they start to work, that rate's a time and a half to start with, from the beginning of it. So the
And I think
entire
Brad's
time they're
got
here,
something he wants to add.
the entire time they're at work, they're not at a normal hourly rate anymore. They're at a time and a half compensation. If they work around the clock, whatever it is, however it's broke down. So, Sheriff, do you want to throw something to that?
What I'm saying, like,
legit-
let's say that the road crew, Mike's got 70 people out there working. Well, if he sends half of them home for a week or so, I think the ones at home would like to come in and get the time and a half
Yeah.
the next week,
Well, and
instead
I-
of keeping the
And
same.
I think I think he can flip them. The crews that go home,
'cause you
they're
want-
making it straight time. Next week,
Nightmare keeping up.
say for
Mike's got a
example,
Mike's got a delicate situation to
He
deal
does.
with, you know.
he's tough.
So what you're
His
doing
balance.
is
Let him
you're
balance it out.
authorizing the payment of time and a half
Can't
incentive
do it.
compensation, okay? You're not telling the department heads how to do that,
Promise you can be done.
Yeah,
all right?
right.
Yep.
Y'all are not telling the department heads how to do it. What you're saying is, if you are a county employee and you have a department head that's willing to authorize it, this board is setting a policy that it's available to pay time and a half as incentive compensation from what would be April 2, 2020, until, one, the governor has lifted all executive orders related to COVID, or May 31, whichever first occurs, right? And it's up to the department heads to determine who is eligible
May 30.
and why.
Yeah, here's the only thing I'd rather do in that, and I'd want to change one thing. I'd rather stay just for the month of April, and then we come back at the end of April and extend it.
Okay?
I'd rather just go 30
Yeah,
days out.
I
Me
agree.
too, me too.
Sheriff, are you all right with that? We're going to do it just for 30 days, the month of April. Come
You
back
see
and
how it goes.
readjust.
Hey, I have a couple questions about it.
All right, go ahead.
Number one, my, people that exempt from overtime, are they exempt from this also? Like,
No,
This automatically
No.
clears
This is
everybody in the
for
same pot, so everybody can go time and a half from the
Talking about
start.
salary
but like me and
employees.
mine set by statute, I can't get it. Right.
By statute, you can. Me and you can't.
Right, but
Yeah.
like, Paul Hodges my attorney, but he's also a certified officer,
He goes straight to time and a half when he comes in.
but he's salaried.
Correct.
That's
Doesn't matter.
fine.
Still doesn't
Gotta
matter.
be determined.
What about my part-time people?
Well, yeah, I
They
mean,
work 20 hours a week.
Yeah,
Well,
but
they're
that may be another
part-time.
cloudy area.
Same thing.
The time.
20-hour deal.
the 20,
They're
the,
retired.
anybody, that's right. Anybody that comes in, their
They're
hourly
not
rate
shouldn't
goes
be
up.
on retirement anyway, you're part-timers. You might have a couple that by virtue of having another
No,
job
the
do
groom's
fall.
retired, but.
Well, they can max out.
See, I don't
They can only
think it
max out what
messes
they
up our
make.
money.
It won't.
Yeah, I don't know.
This money's going to be the reimbursed channel
Okay.
to the FEMA side. So everybody that would come in, say he's getting 20 hours and he was at
No.
$5 an hour, his time and a half rate bumps him up. And his
They-
hourly rate
They
goes
talk
back.
about they
They're
can
part-time
max out
employees.
what they can make.
on those part-times, they can only make half of what they would.
Like when Bruce retired, he gets
Yep.
PERS, but he also gets a part-time check. If he makes so much, then
It
I
kicks
think
them out.
I think all of this stuff is under that administrative
You'll
leave
have to
policy
figure it
That's
out.
part.
gonna have to fall
I'll have
for
to
the
check
same
it
way
out.
the inspectors do
Okay.
it in the building department.
Yeah, I mean Renee just
Okay.
I might check it out.
I would think the guys that get paid.
They go
want to
time and a half.
Have to go on site.
The guys have to go on site.
if you're working from home, you're on your normal
Right.
salary.
in Craig, what I'm doing like with my investigators is they stay at home, their cases are emailed to them, they contact the complainants on their cell phones, if they have to go meet them, they do. But I have an on-call investigator that he has to come to the office, so the one sitting home will pay straight pay. The
Yeah.
on-call investigator that's out working,
Yep.
will pay time and a half.
That's right. And then the moment they leave their house, they go to time and a half rate. I mean, and you decide when they leave it, if it's a certain type of call or whatever. But that gives anybody that's out in the public, you're at a time and a half rate, minus Barry Vaughn. That's my only two things.
So
Yep.
you will need Ms. Laura to push out the information to the department heads. This is what the board has decided. And be really clear, it's effective not before, but as of
Today.
today,
I would think
okay?
it's the same for justice court. Surely
Yes, I will
they've
get it.
cut way
I'll
back too.
Jessica, the
Send
same.
it out
What are y'all
to
doing,
them.
Jessica?
I haven't heard from Larry. He's like laying low, so I'm just like, I'll call him and get
Can't
him.
believe Carolina shut.
We can't stop
That,
them, can we?
Jay, that's what I heard. I have not talked to her.
But I guess my thing is we don't have any authority to stop what they do. I mean, if Sullivan closes and Carolina closes, we can't control that. Our office is open, so I mean,
Okay, seriously, what's gonna happen? They can't get a tag, get pulled over, get a ticket.
they're gonna have to call
Yeah,
Carolina.
They're gonna have to
You know?
explain that to
I don't think
whoever
Rankin
issues the
County
ticket.
Sheriff's Department will do that.
Or
Yeah,
how
I
to
think
trouble-
they have a-
roadblock,
They
whatever.
will. Well, and I guess my thing
Florida
is that's
police.
I imagine it's gonna
that,
be a little.
that's
leniency
that's
on
outside
that.
of our
There have to
purview.
be.
Well, I mean, if it's only out like
It's
one
not us.
month.
Same with the
right, I'm
reservoir
not saying
deal. It ain't
that.
nothing to do with us.
2019 tag
Yeah.
that
So-
he's been riding
Yeah,
around for 6
no, I'm
months.
saying, but you know,
Y'all ready to make a motion on
It's
that?
gonna be, it's
Somebody
gonna come
worked
back to
2
the
hours
department.
today, and
I just hate not to be able to do something.
we got, yeah, me too.
Hey, because here's the thing, our EOC guys have not been on time. That's when we get comp time. They be getting shit kicked out.
Yeah.
Y'all ready to move? Y'all ready to
I
make a
am, I
motion?
am. So here's my motion to add it to the agenda on the compensation package for the essential employees. So that's my motion.
Second.
Not let these people take advantage of it.
Right.
This is to add.
Oh, I work for.
This
is to add it
I had
to-
go.
Yeah.
You know.
So you got a motion and a second by me and Brad to add it to the agenda.
All right. Motion by Daniel, second by Brad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, say aye.
All right, so my motion is going to be to put it on the department heads. Slay, you need to paint this up for me on how the wording needs to go, but puts the authority back to the department heads of our offices and the sheriff at his discretion that employees that come out to work under that essential task that are not working from home, when they come out, they're at the time and a half rate. The essential employees who are working at home are normally compensated just like normal, but the moment they come out, Mr. Renee's office, same way. Your discretion on who you send out. Mike Harrison's the same way, who he sends out. Our office is up here. Who comes in to check the mail, minus Janice. All right, time and a half, right? And I'm running this for 30 days. My motion is
Yes,
for 30 days, and then
it's
we'll
gonna
come
be
back
effective.
and we'll come back and decide if we want to extend it and figure it out. So time and a half rate on guys that come out on the clock when they're working, they go to the time and a half rate
Okay.
at the
We
direction.
actually, we have a work session on the 30th of April.
And-
And so I
And
would
we can address it
suggest
again
that
there.
we run it from April 2, 10 a.m., whatever time it is, 11 a.m., until April 30. And then you guys will have an opportunity on April 30th to reevaluate.
All right, so that's my motion.
I'll second it, but I want our agency heads, the supervisors, the people that are over management, we're gonna have to be really careful because somebody, I mean, I can see it. Well, I came out for 2 hours on Monday and then I worked at home and I had to, I came out for 4 hours on Wednesday and then, boy, it's gonna be a mess to try to, I think the agency heads or supervisors or whoever's managing should limit that coming out and in. I mean, either you are or you're not.
Yeah, we're going to have.
Regular
Because
work day.
I can see what's fixing to happen. All those people that's been at home, they're gonna be coming out for a few hours and saying, I had to.
Yeah, so it needs to be really clear to everybody that sort of oversees the eligibility part of that,
Yep.
to make sure that they are in fact needed and essential, and that there's an
I think it's either
assignment
gonna
that
be
goes
for a
with it.
day or not. It ain't gonna be an hour or two.
I think the managers should direct
Or, yeah.
when you're
Agreed.
gonna come out
Yeah.
and when
you
you're
can
not.
handle it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay?
But we'll make sure we don't.
yeah. All
All
right.
right, so that's my
All right,
motion.
you
so
have
motion
something
by
else?
Daniel, second by Steve, discussion. So we don't need to put in the motion as far as mandating everyone go home and work from home. I
No,
mean,
sir,
I think that's still under the department head's discretion.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
All right,
So,
okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right.
I have a couple of items. I don't think any of them are
Hey, we
gonna-
gotta get on that phone call.
Jay does, yep.
Shit, we're late.
Hey,
Go get on it.
We ain't gonna get
Just
in.
pass it over.
okay,
and go
Greg,
get
I
it.
just got a message.
Pass it over to Gaines.
Is the county gonna, put a stay-home order? My answer would be no, that's not our authority.
We don't
It'd be-
have to.
It's
Governor's
the
already
governor.
done it.
Governor's done it.
Well, he's not saying, they're like, stay home, everybody stay home.
No,
We're not doing it.
we're not taking any action.
No, I'm just saying, we're not doing any of
No,
that.
We're not getting, we're not
There's
getting-
Caroline
We
right
don't,
there.
we don't anticipate,
Caroline,
we don't anticipate doing anything at the county level.
We're just letting the governor's action
that's
speak.
my, yeah, that's his say.
That's a lot better on this.
I'm gonna say, that would be for him to say.
Yep. All right, Bishop, what else you need? We ready to get out? You got executive session, Slay?
Right,
Why don't you go get on that phone call, see what changed?
Caroline, are you closing your office
Why don't you go get it?
Monday?
And then you can come back and bring
Just a minute, listen, come.
You want Daniel to go jump on it?
We will have people that will have to come in, we'll rotate because we'll have mail and online that will get crazy.
You're not gonna do drive-through?
No,
Well,
We can-
just my question that I had, what are people gonna do if they get a ticket because they don't have a tag?
Hey, can I address that real quick? That's bothered me before, and I wish I could speak for all law enforcement, but I'll do a press release and something else that you know, especially on the tag, stuff like that, there are no deputies, and I would hope other law enforcement would not, you know, because our office is gonna be closed, that
Yep.
everybody's gonna have a 30-day grace period.
I wouldn't expect their deputies, but I'm thinking like you drive through Richland, Flowood, wherever.
I will
Yeah.
say too, though, the state has still not released anything in regards to fees, penalties, all that with car tags. Property taxes is a different story, but car tags alone, because they said it would impact revenue, because they have, that's why, not for the fees and penalties, but they, I mean, the expectation is that people are still renewing car tags and doing all of that, because most every place has the option to do it online and via mail. So we will be working with people after the fact in regard to penalties. That does not mean we are gonna waive every, I mean, it's gonna be situational, obviously.
Right.
But just for you guys' sake, if you get calls or whatever, the Department of Revenue has not issued anything unless it's come down today, anything regarding fees and penalties for car tag renewals. So that's still, which is again, why we will have to have people coming in to work.
Well, taxes, they haven't done anything with taxes.
The property taxes and, the delinquents and the late fees for property taxes, they have addressed that. They addressed that last week, I believe it was.
Oh, I guess I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything as far as what can be done online and through mail will continue as normal.
All right. I just wanted to hear from you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so motion to go into executive session for litigation.
Step out, I guess.
He's just on it right now. We got a motion executive session.
All right, yeah, motion by Daniel, second by Brad, all in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, say aye.
Litigation and personnel's in that motion. You didn't hear me. All right.
Craig, we're gonna do my deal?
Daniel,
Me and Brad, I think.
what I say?
It's just the fee.
Yes.
You put hand sanitizer on. There's just nobody here, you think you put hand sanitizer on here.
This is a home of habit.
Hey, keep your nails clean.
I don't think I still clear. It's nothing to do with wrong. It's to do with that. What it should have. So that one overlay, you did not do it wrong.
I don't want to hear that.
They just doing the same old stuff they did.
Same crap.
Asking stupid questions.
Hey,
How you doing,
I
counsel?
sent Curry a text yesterday,
Yeah.
I said, I just got this because of the plastics, I don't know anything about it, you know about it, I said, Mr. Jones, he didn't know this, I said, Mr. Jones, since we're at this downtime during the baseball season, I'll meet y'all at 7 a.m. at your house in the backyard Friday.
Work 'em out.
For an individual workout, and he said, let me know, I said, to him, I said, I guess it's just something to do, Dad, I call other parents, I said, you know, he was going.
He got it. Hey, Munson was going out saying they had to repeat the grade again. That's April deal, you know, that everybody, that Townsend, somebody wrote a fake letter from the school district, signed it Dr. Townsend, that everybody's that didn't finish this year's got to repeat the year.
I'm disappointed, I didn't think. Make a motion.
Yeah, second. No doubt.
Do it out loud.
Make a motion, go in executive session.
You got it, second. Bishop.
Yeah, motion